Hello folks, Reloading Bench back with you once again. And as you can see, based on what's on the bench, this is not a reloading based video. We're probably going to call this Gums of My Youth. And this all started, I'm going to say years ago, growing up in Chicago. Everybody knows Wrigley Stadium, Cubbies. Juicy Fruit, these commercials were everywhere in the 70s, everywhere. Double mint gum, the twins, what was it, Spearmint, Peppermint, Cinnamon, and Juicy Fruit. So I think those were the four, the red, the white, the green, and the yellow. And this actually had gum in it, and I got this for my son years ago, and I love tins, so it became something of a homage to Juicy Fruit on the workbench. So it allows me to give a little nod to Juicy Fruit, which was one of my favorite flavors of the Wrigley selection. But that also reminded me, and I picked this up maybe a year or two ago, and this just sits on the shelf. More memories. And I'll show pictures of what I remember Juicy Fruit to look like with the little sticks and in the foil wrapping and whatnot, little thin. Sometimes they were hard and brittle and they would break or snap, and other times you could roll them up in a little ball and put them in. Flavor lasted all of like 3 seconds, but it was good and it was inexpensive. And then there was Bazooka. Bazooka was cool because this was an actual bubble gum, meaning you could blow bubbles. Juicy Fruit, very thin. You know, it tasted delicious. It had a great flavor, but wasn't really bubble gum. It was chewing gum. And there's a big difference between chewing gum and bubble gum, at least in my opinion. You know, chewing gum is meant for chewing. Bubble gum is meant to blow bubbles. So you could actually blow bubbles with Bazooka, and I'll show some of the old pictures of what I remember Bazooka to look like in terms of the little pink pucks, little square pucks, little thin rectangular pucks of really hard gum. You break a tooth on getting Bazooka all pliable and ready before it was good to go for bubble gum. And that's kind of where bubble yum comes in. On a recent trip back to the Midwest, we passed by old stomping grounds, saw my old house, and passed by what was at the time of my youth, and we're talking 70s, a mom and pop pharmacy drugstore. And they were the first drugstore that we were able to find bubble yum in. And I'll show the original bubble yum because it was marketed as soft and chewy kind of thing. It didn't look like this at all. It was more closer to Bazooka, you know, boring marketing than this kind of stuff here. And but it was soft and chewy. And again, it was bubble gum. And what made bubble yum so unique and different in the late 70s were it wasn't a strip. It was more similar to Bazooka in that it was, you know, a block. So this was a little tiny rectangle. This was more of a cube of gum, but this was soft. You could put it in your mouth, and on that first bite, it was soft and chewy. The first bite of Bazooka, you were hurting your teeth. You were trying to turn this piece of hard product into a malleable material that you could then blow bubbles. Bubble yum, you could blow bubbles right away. You could be chomp chomp bubble bubble. So I went and looked recently online, and sure enough, to confirm my memory, I'm not going completely crazy. Bubble yum, and this is off Wikipedia. Bubble yum is a brand of bubble gum marketed by the Hershey Company. It was first sold by Lifesavers in test markets in the western U.S. in 1974, way before my time in the West. National distribution began in 1976, so that would make sense because in the late 70s is when this hit the market for us, and you had to be on it because if you went into a candy store or any place that sold gum, it was tough to find bubble yum. Couldn't keep it on the shelf, and I don't even remember what bubble yum cost back in the day, but I think these old things were like 25 cents for a pack of Juicy Fruit. I want to say Bazooka was like 2 cents per little square when you bought it, when you reached into the jug and just grabbed a handful of them and brought it up to the counter. But these brought back memories of my youth. So back in the Midwest, saw the store, which isn't a store anymore. So I had to pick up some bubble yum to remember old times that have now passed many, many years ago. Times bygone, bygone times. From the late 70s, but bubble yum was the bomb. And now it's, nothingness. Just like Juicy Fruit, when bubble yum first started out, there was one flavor. It was the original flavor. And then it branched out into, show a graphic 5 or 6 different flavors. I don't think I've ever tried anything other than the original flavor of bubble gum. And I think Bazooka, I remember trying the grape, and I think there was one other flavor. Was it strawberry or cherry? Again, I'll throw the graphic up, but I tried the other Bazookas, and it's like, nothing quite like the original. And, I can't say the same for bubble yum because I never tried the others, but this brings back good memories of my youth. So strolling down memory lane with gums of my youth. Later.